Gather around, my children, courtesy of bringing you another Magic the Gathering commentary produced by Green Carpet Media. I'm very excited to cover this next game because we're going to be moving out of Innistrad and into Ravnica. Now don't worry, we're still going to finish the Dark Ascension Intro Pack tournament, just consider this match bonus content. I want to apologize in advance because I don't think we'll be doing a best 2 out of 3 with this matchup. I know it's not a very accurate representation of the decks and the player's skills by just playing one game, because a big part of Magic is luck, and sometimes good fortune is just not on your side. So with that being said, let me get into talking about the players and the decks. I won't go too far into detail. We have Garrus returning, playing the green-white deck Selesnya Surge, and his opponent will be the newcomer Hoggfard Boom, playing the red-black deck Rakdos Raid. Garrus' deck will be generating a ton of tokens, while Hoggfard's deck will be putting on massive pressure with constant attacks. Now currently these players are drawing their initial hands, and I must note that Garrus' hand is looking very strong, while Hoggfard's is looking pretty frail. He's going to mulligan, and I think that's a good decision because the cards he had would have been very difficult to open with. He had no swamps or early drops. And like I said before, Hoggfard needs to be putting on the pressure, and in my opinion, the earlier the better. I do however think that Rakdos Raid does play very strong in the later game. It's definitely no slouch because it establishes itself early with heavy creature pressure and is able to build on that early pressure with devastating sorceries and enchantments in the mid-game, then lay the finishing blow with its bigger meteor creatures in the end. The main problem I think Hoggfard will face will be the onslaught of tokens Garrus' deck can generate. The difficulty won't be that Garrus will be attacking with these tokens, but that he'll be defending with them. And I'm pretty sure Garrus can generate more tokens than Hoggfard can take out. It looks like Hoggfard's hand still isn't as strong as it could be, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him take a mulligan down to 5. Well, it looks like Hoggfard's going to stay with this hand, and since Garrus won the dice roll, he'll be starting us off by playing a forest and passing his turn. Hoggfard will be relying greatly on his next 3 draws because his hand isn't that great. He needs to draw the smaller creatures his deck contains. He drew Minotaur Aggressor, a card that he can't be too excited about, plays a mountain, and ends his turn. Garrus has drawn the instant Chorus of Might and will be tapping his forest and plains to play Brush Strider, a 3/1 beast creature with Vigilance. Brush Strider is a relatively weak card, but with Hoggfard having such a sketchy hand, it has the potential to get at least one good attack. Garrus has passed his turn over to Hoggfard, who drew a mountain, but he absolutely does not want to see land draws because he still doesn't have any playable creatures. That's really unfortunate because all Hoggfard can do now is play a swamp and pass his turn, which means Garrus is going to start his next turn with tempo. At the moment, Garrus has the opportunity to set the pace for the game and can't let Hoggfard disrupt his momentum. Now Garrus has drawn the artifact Selesnya Surge, and since Garrus has the tempo, he wants to start setting up a strong mana base, so I believe he'll be playing the Surge on this turn. Yep, the reason it's important to play the Surge now is because this particular artifact is also a mana source. A player is able to generate either green or white mana when this card is tapped. But the Surge also has the ability to turn into a 3/3 wolf artifact creature if the owner pays the cost of 1 green mana and 1 white mana, making this card an effective mana dump in the late game. Garrus will attack with his Brush Strider, and since Hoggfard has nothing that can deal with this threat, he'll be taking 3 damage and going down to 17 health. And remember, since this card has Vigilance, it doesn't tap when attacking. Which means this card can defend next turn if need be. Wow, Hoggfard is having no luck this game on his draws. He's drawn another mountain, but fortunately for him, he'll be able to get a Sewer Shambler onto the field for some needed defense. Sewer Shambler is a 2/1 zombie creature with 2 abilities. The first ability is Swamp Walk, an ability that won't see much use in this matchup since Garrus doesn't control any swamps. The second ability is another keyword ability, Scavenge, but this is an activated ability that costs 2 colorless mana and 1 black mana, and requires the card to be in the owner's graveyard. When you scavenge, you will exile the card from the graveyard and put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to the exiled card's power onto the target creature. Garrus should be feeling very comfortable in this scenario with a strong lead. He's got the creature advantage, he's got the mana advantage, and he still has tempo, which is going to play big for him this turn. He can start setting up his mid-game, and this is going to be a very early mid-game, while Hoggfard is still struggling to set up his early game. Garrus has drawn and played a forest. He's going to be tapping all of his mana sources to pull out Seller of Songbirds, a 1/2 human creature that enters the battlefield with a 1/1 bird token. He still has 2 unused mana. He'll probably either be turning his Surge into a 3/3 wolf or playing his Guildmage. It looks like he has chosen the latter and will be playing Vitu-Ghazi Guildmage, a 2/2 Dryad Shaman creature with 2 activated abilities. The first ability creates a 3/3 green Centaur token, and the second ability is actually the keyword ability, Populate. When a player populates, they create a token that's a copy of a token they already control. Now I could talk about this card for 10 minutes, but I'll refrain because I don't want to keep you guys in a state of limbo for too long. Anyway, Garrus is going to attack again with his Brush Strider, but Hoggfard is going to block the Strider with his Sewer Shambler, which means both these creatures will be sent to their owner's graveyards. Garrus will end his turn, and Hoggfard needs to draw something that'll get him back into this game. I personally would like to see Mind Rot. This might be able to throw Garrus off and possibly starve him of the necessary mana to make his Guildmage ineffective. Another card that might be useful is Rakdos Surge. It wouldn't have a lot of short-term use, but then again, neither would Mind Rot. But talk about bad timing. Hoggfard has drawn the enchantment Crippling Blight, which he could have used last turn to take out that Brush Strider. In any case, he's going to tap down 3 lands and play his Hellhole Flailer, an Ogre Warrior creature with 2 abilities. The first is the keyword ability Unleash, which means when the creature enters the battlefield, you may put a +1/+1 counter on the creature, but if you did, it will be unable to block. The second is an activated ability for 2 colorless, 1 black, 1 red, and sacrificing Hellhole Flailer, you may deal damage equal to its power to a player. Hoggfard has decided not to use the keyword ability Unleash, which I can't blame him for not doing, because he might need the Flailer to cushion the blow from Garrus' impending attacks. Hoggfard has ended his turn, and even though the life totals are 20 and 17, Garrus has a huge leading position. If he can maintain this lead and be mindful of the potential bursts of damage that the Rakdos Raid deck is capable of, he'll most likely take this game. Garrus has drawn and played Healer of the Pride, a 2/3 cat cleric creature. This card has the passive ability that whenever another creature enters the battlefield under your control, you gain 2 life. This ability will synergize extremely well with all the potential tokens that can be put into play. Garrus is attacking with his 1/1 bird token, and since this creature has flying, Hoggfard is forced to take the damage due to his inability to block the token. That will take his life total down to 16, and Garrus will be ending his turn. Now, Hoggfard has to be worried about the current state of the game. Garrus' army is looking pretty massive, and he doesn't really have anything that can deal with this threat. Hoggfard has drawn Tormented Soul, a card that he would have liked to draw on his second turn, but better late than never. He's tapping 3 lands to play Shambler's Scavenge ability. And I just don't agree with this move at all. Hoggfard is leaving himself wide open to an all-in attack from Garrus. By putting 2 +1/+1 counters on his flailer means that this creature will no longer be able to block due to his Unleash ability, which states that as long as the creature has a +1/+1 counter on it, it can't block. I think Hoggfard should have been patient and played his Tormented Soul and passed his turn. He could have then used the Shambler's Scavenge on the Tormented Soul, making him a 3/3 unblockable. Currently, not one of Hoggfard's creatures can block, and if Garrus' army gets big enough, that might spell big trouble down the line. Now, Hoggfard has basically forced himself to attack with his flailer, and as you can see, Garrus has no qualms about throwing away his Cellar of Songbirds. Chump blocking is what that card is there to do. Now, Garrus has drawn and played a forest. He's going to tap all of his lands to use his Guild Mage's activated ability to put a 3/3 green centaur creature onto the battlefield, and due to his Healer of the Pride's passive ability, he'll gain an additional 2 life, bringing his health total to 22. But it looks like Garrus has decided to only attack with his 1/1 bird token. That's very strange because Garrus had a clear opening to attack with his Healer of the Pride and Guild Mage for an additional 4 damage. These 2 cards are very important to Garrus, and I'm not sure if he's 100% familiar with the cards in the Rakdos raid deck. However, I'm fairly confident that there isn't anything in Hoggfard's deck that will be able to stop a full-on attack if Garrus decided to bring the house. Garrus has ended his turn and is sitting comfortably at 22 health while Hoggfard sits at 15, and it looks like it's going to be another land draw for Hoggfard, and it's not even a land that he would prefer. Remember, Hoggford stuck with this hand because he was betting on drawing something decent before his 4th turn. He's going to play the only move available to him, getting Tormented Soul active onto the battlefield. Tormented Soul is a 1/1 spirit creature that can't block and can't be blocked, which means that Hoggfard still has 0 defending creatures. He's going to attack with the flailer, and Garrus feels confident enough to take the 5 damage opposed to blocking with his 3/3 centaur. This will lower Garrus' health to 17, and it appears that this game is closer than I'm making it out to be. Which you'll notice that Garrus has the potential to deal 8 damage next turn, and if you add his instant Course of Might, that's 12 total damage. Garrus has drawn and played a Plains. He's tapped down 4 lands and will use his Guild Mage's activated ability, Populate, to create a copy of his Centaur token, and due to his Healer of the Pride's passive ability, he'll gain an additional 2 life, bumping him up to 19. He's then going to tap the remainder of his lands and his artifact for 3 mana and play another Cellar of Songbirds. He'll gain an additional 2 life from the Cellar and another 2 life from the bird token that the Cellar generates. This will bring his life total to 23. Garrus will go on the attack for 9 damage, but I must note that Cellar of the Songbirds has Summoning Sickness and can attack. Well, I guess no one noticed this little error, and Hoggfard will be taking the full 9 damage, lowering his health to 6. At this point, I'm not sure that it even matters. I don't think Hoggfard can top deck any card that can get him out of this situation. He can't do enough damage next turn to kill Garrus, and he doesn't have enough creatures to prevent lethal either. I wouldn't be surprised if he conceded the game right here. I guess Hoggfard is going to persevere as he draws one last slap in the face, a sorcery card that he can't even use because it requires 2 swamps, and Hoggfard currently only has 1. He's laid down a mountain and will be playing Minotaur Aggressor. He's going to be bringing the house at Garrus, but regardless of whether Garrus blocks or not, it doesn't matter. This attack won't prove lethal, and Hoggfard has left himself wide open to a killing blow with no mana to bluff. Garrus simply chump blocked with his tokens, and the unblockable soul gets through dealing 1 damage to Garrus, lowering his health to 22. That's the power of Selesnya Surge. It can generate so many disposable creatures that it can be very difficult for the opposing player to deal any damage, and the damage that is dealt is mitigated by the cards that make Garrus gain life. And it looks like that's GG, children, as Hoggfard has absolutely no way of defending against Garrus' next attack. Hoggfard was on the back foot that entire game. He made a few miscalculations during his gameplay, but I believe his biggest downfall was his reluctance to rely on the luck of the draw. Now don't get me wrong, sometimes the luck of the draw can play in your favor, but sometimes it's worth taking a second mulligan to get a better starting hand. I'll admit his first mulligan wasn't terrible, but the whole point in keeping that hand was relying strongly on the next 3 or 4 draws. Now I'm not going to say Garrus played a perfect game. Obviously there were times where he could have attacked when he didn't. I'm not sure why he hesitated. Maybe it was his lack of knowledge with the Rakdos raid deck, or maybe he just simply didn't feel the need. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this little bonus Return to Ravnica intro pack game. It was a nice break from the world of Innistrad, and I hope we can do more in the future. I do want to shift gears and talk about the content we will be releasing on this channel in the future. I said in the Magic the Gathering pilot video that this channel wasn't strictly just MTG content, and we want to pursue other video ventures. We want to commentate on board games such as Wiz Wars, video games such as Super Smash 64, and we want to do it in a way that no other channel has provided yet. Now for all you Magic fans that watch strictly for Magic the Gathering, don't worry, we're still going to produce Magic content, and that's going to be the majority of our videos. It's just that we want to expand our horizons and comment on other games that we love playing. So if you guys enjoyed this video, check out our other videos in the annotations below. You can also visit your local comic book store every Friday night for Friday Night Magic. It's a good way to pwn the noobs in your neighborhood. Thanks for watching. This is Curtis signing out until next time.